Hey,
Hi,
Carly.
hi, sister. Oh, I think I need to call you Karen for this, but your name to me was always sister. Anyways, my name is Carly Peterson Loth, and I'm the executive director of PAC. And sister,
I am Karen Harvey, and I am a board member and on the scholarship committee for PACT.
great. And I met Michelle at the Boys and Girls Club of Venice in 2010, and I've been Michelle's sidekick ever since. So I think I got hardcore into it about 7 years ago. And her original goal was to help with teen pregnancy prevention. Back in the day, the rates were a lot higher, and there wasn't enough space for a lot of young people to ask hard, awkward questions about parts and birth control. And also, she discovered that if you didn't have the greatest of self-worth and communication skills, that sometimes you made choices that led to a situation that you weren't kind of ready for or planned for.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's another question that we need to answer is, how has it changed over the years? Sister, have you noticed how it's changed over the years that you've been apart, or should I answer?
Well, I will just share what I've seen, which is I've been involved for 3 or 4 years now, and I've seen it turn into a really great program that happens at different high schools, where Michelle is meeting with kids in person and talking about communication and self-esteem and just taking care of yourself. And so the emphasis, it seems like now, has shifted more toward just being good to you and seeing your own self-worth. And I don't know, what would you add to that?
Yes, that, and the digital age has kind of played a huge role in interaction between youth. I read an article that was the main reason of decline of teen pregnancy is more kids are on their phone, more kids don't get together, more kids play video games, so that experiment or interaction isn't happening like it used to. And then there's kind of the cyberbullying and the cyber, fear of missing out on stuff, and so people aren't as happy anymore. And so I think that's another reason why we changed our program, to talk about those things and talk about communication and what you might think you're in a relationship. Do they think you're in a relationship and stuff like that?
Online, it can be sometimes kind of hard to tell, honestly.
Right. For all ages.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine being younger than we are and trying to navigate through those types of relationships. So
yeah.
So it's and then the pandemic hit, which made it all crazier. And we weren't able to go into high schools, and we did it virtually, and now everyone's over Zoom. And so it's changing. It's going to change yet again, but we're hoping to get back into the high schools and create programs on campuses, college campuses, and have workshops and kind of morph it into both. If you have friends across the country, they can have a club or whatnot. So.
Yeah. And just having a way that kids can connect and feel like they're supported and part of a community that's really positive, and that gives you permission to be good to yourself and try and stretch. Like, all those things are so important.
Exactly. So I'm going to ask you another question, sister. What does Girls PAC or PAC mean to you?
Well, I just really think of it as an organization that helps support the empowerment of young people, giving them the chance to stand up for themselves and feel good about who they are, and making positive choices for them. What about you? What would you say?
Well, I wish I had PACT when I was growing up in high school. I, had some issues of my own. I'm adopted, and my mom was a nurse, and she was very technical with explanation of relationships and not quite into the warm and fuzzy side of things. So I probably could have used a space to ask questions that I was awkward asking anybody else. I think Michelle still gets awkward, weird questions, which I think she loves. And I just think, everyone could use a special space. And, if you've ever had a chance to talk to Michelle or be in one of her workshops, she creates a very safe and actually fun environment to have these conversations.
And a lot of kids aren't going to have those conversations with their parents for any number of reasons. And so having a place that you can ask the hard questions and talk with people your own age and have that facilitated, like that's so good for everybody, because that's really what high schoolers need.
Yep. All people.
Well, high schoolers, college, young, everybody. Yeah, everybody.
Right. Especially me.
So sister, what do you expect the future of PAC to look like?
Wow, that's a great question. And I think Michelle and I have different outlooks of it too. I would love for it to be national. I would love for her to sell her curriculum and make clubs all over the country, because I feel there's great value in her message and her tactics and her specialty. Unfortunately, she is so good at it. It's hard to clone her. And I feel like if we could clone her and, train the trainer and find some really special people out there, we could really do that. I think there's a virtual side that I kind of mentioned. The scholarship, I want it to play a huge role in our organization, because, it kind of came from nowhere, and then it's turned into one of our very special things that we do. So growing the scholarship, growing our numbers, touching as many youth, to have the self-worth and the communication skills, to have bold lives, to have confidence in themselves to succeed is, would be a really awesome thing.
That's fabulous.
How about you? What do you think the future of PAC looks like? And I know we swap back and forth between Girls PAC and PAC, because we started at Girls PAC, but then we wanted to be inclusive, but then we couldn't give up our old name. And so there's a lot of Girls PAC.
We're still trying to figure it all out.
Yep.
I just hope that we can figure out ways for it to reach as many people as possible. And I think in person, of course, is the ideal, because you just form different kinds of relationships when you're actually there face to face. But the technology side of it allows us to reach so many other people. So some good hybrid, but for me, the bottom line is that the more people we can reach, the bigger the impact is going to be. And this is just something that's so important that people really do need. So I just hope that we're able to continue to grow and reach more and more people as the months and years go by.
You said it best.
Well, you mentioned the scholarship, so let's talk about that, because that is something that is near and dear to both of our hearts.
And you're on the scholarship committee. So
Indeed, I am.
So we created, and I was writing some notes down. I was trying to remember, and maybe you can share. How did we come up with the name? Was it someone's suggestion? Was it our suggestion? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
This would assume that I remember. I don't even know how it all quite happened, but I think we had talked independently about maybe wanting to do some kind of a scholarship in honor of our mom, MARIAN Petersen, who passed away at the beginning of 2018. And then I think PAC was trying to put together a scholarship, and I think the two just kind of dovetailed, and it just kind of worked out. But it's just one more way that PAC is able to make a difference in the lives of young people. And so it's just really a big positive all the way around. So what do you first remember about your thoughts on the scholarship and what we were trying to do?
Well, growing up, and I don't know if this is true or not, and we've talked about it a little bit, but growing up, it was my recollection that mom wanted to go to college to become a doctor, and her father would not let her go to college to become a doctor. She had to be either a secretary and a librarian. And this is a woman that was valedictorian of her high school, so she had some brains. It wasn't like a far-fetched weird notion. She could have, with her smarts, but her father, that was not going to happen under his watch. He was not going to pay for college. So and then when I was little, she went back to school and got her RN license, years after her father passed away. And so education to her was always very important. And I think maybe Michelle suggested it, or I don't know. Either way, it's a very awesome honor that we have this scholarship in her name, because our mother was very service oriented. She donated time, money, energy. She gave people rides. She was very active in service. And so it just kind of all goes together. She always wanted to help anyone that wanted to be helped. Right?
And and she put so much value on education. And when she went back to school, you were little. I was in, I think, 4th grade, so I would have been like 9, so you were like 2 or so. And so it was a big sacrifice for her and our dad to leave him with these 2 kids, and that she did it. And she got up super early. I remember for years she had to get up at 5:15 in the morning to go in and do her work, and that she just loved learning and loved helping people, which was kind of what led her into nursing. But it was really a big deal that both of us got to see her graduate and see this huge accomplishment. And she was one of the older people in her class, because a lot of them were going into it right out of college. And then here she was years after going to Stanford and going back to school and becoming a nurse. So it was a big deal. And I know she would be really proud to know that she has her name on a scholarship now.
And so we were able to give out 1 scholarship last year. And what are we doing this year?
This year we're going to do 2. We're hoping.
Great. And so the scholarship application process is started, correct?
Yes.
So if you go to www.girlspack.org, you can find our scholarship application online. And we want everyone and anyone to fill it out, and we will decide and announce it, correct?
Absolutely. So yeah, it's open now, and I think it closes, I want to say May 14th.
Yep.
Does that sound right? Okay.
Yep. That sounds right to me.
Get those applications in.
And if you have any questions, you can always email us from our website.
Yep.
So thanks for your time, sister, to talk about Mom, Girls Pack, and the scholarship fund.
Thank you. It's always fun, and it's such a good cause. So it's nice to have a conversation about it.
All right. Talk soon.
Bye, everybody.